I've been a Scientologist for over 20 years. So what we thought we'd do tonight is there's so much we could talk about, to be honest. We could be here literally all night. I'm going to talk about me, my personal kind of, how it's helped me personally and my view of Scientology. And then Stuart's actually going to give you a bit more background about what Scientology really is all about. Because once upon a time as a new religion we got thrown to the lions. These days we just have to deal with some bad press. So it's not quite as bad as it used to be. Anyway, I bought the book, the Dianetics book actually, in 1989. I was walking down the street in Commercial Road, Portsmouth. I'd just finished my French and German degree, quite different to the rest of you in the audience, and postgraduate for teaching, so I just started teaching. I was really interested in what people's, my own views on life was, why am I so bad-tempered? That was my biggest thing for me personally, was I had a temper, I would let it go, relationship difficulties, up and down in moods, a few things like that. In the classroom it was fine, but emotionally it wasn't, and I knew that. So I bought the Dianetics book, actually relatively easily, to at least get my own view of it. Okay, let me take a look and see. I'd not heard of Scientology at that point at all, so I didn't know anything about it. I was also then given a personality test, which I then went up to Chichester and had that evaluated. I was amazed at how accurate that was. But I was still, I have to say, extremely sceptical. I didn't believe it could work. I didn't think it could help me. I wasn't definite about the subject at all at that point. I knew nothing about it. So I started a course. What I liked about the course when I first started was it was me finding out about me. Whereas my mum would often say to me, you're too sensitive, Deborah, just calm down a bit and stop worrying a bit, and all these exams are getting you down, and that kind of thing. It didn't change it for me. I knew that's what I was doing, but it was like, well, how the heck do I change this? What do I do about it? And that's what I found with reading the Dianetics book and starting a course, was that I could see what was happening to me and what kind of things were setting me off. So that made a big difference, because I could do something about it. Yeah? So that's how I started. I did a few courses, and then actually I left for 3 months. I said, okay, that's great, done really well, thanks very much. I'm going to carry on with my life. And I did that for 3 months, and I missed it. I actually thought, there's more to this, there's more I want to do, and I know there's more I can find out. So I chose to go back. So I was allowed to leave, and I chose to go back. I haven't really looked back from that point. I use Scientology every day of my life, with relationships, my son, who's 7, and in all aspects of life I use my Scientology. The teaching side of it, I stopped when my son was born, and that's when I actually took on a different career altogether. Now, without my Scientology background, I never would have had the confidence to do what I did. I actually started my own business, which is running magazines, and that's actually grown. I started that in 6-7 years ago, just after he was born, and I started with one magazine. We've now got 10. So in actual fact, through the recession, because we've grown in the last 18 months quite significantly, by using my Scientology techniques, the business has expanded despite the economic climate. So my husband also, he was working, he was here at Southampton University in computers, and working for Philips and NXP in Southampton. And he took voluntary redundancy to work with me at home to work on the business. He's also a Scientologist. We met. I was a Scientologist first. He came in and did his personality test, and I put him on his first course. And that's how we met. But he then also gave up his job. That's something neither of us would ever have done without the confidence, without the technology, without the information that we've got as Scientologists. So that's really quite key to me that we've been able to do that. And it funds us, and the mortgage and everything else. From the business side of it, he was in a very good job actually, on a very good wage. But as I said, it's the Scientology technology that's really helped us through that. So what I want to do now is actually, have you got any questions on that? That's just a brief background for me and how it's really helped me in life generally. I wasn't looking for the answers to God and the spiritual side of life when I came into Scientology. That's not what I was looking for. I was looking for help for me on a personal, individual, day-to-day life situation actually, and that's what I found was the answers to that. We run courses to do with relationships, communication, the mind, past experiences, how they work, etc., what affects you now. So I definitely was not looking for the spiritual side of life. That's actually come after I've done quite a few courses. Yeah.
What's the personality test?
Personality test, it's 200 questions. You fill in 10 points per question. So you get a graph at the end of it, which gives you 10 different characteristics on how happy you are, how stable you are, how nervous you can get, how confident you are, certain, how aggressive you can be, how active you are.
And what's the link between that and Scientology?
That is it's an Oxford capacity analysis. It was not done by NRH. It was actually a test. It's a personality test that is just used to look at a person's character and what areas of life you might want to improve on.
And you linked that as a starting point for your faith in Scientology. I was just wondering how that affected
what it does, when a person fills it in, they usually fill it in because there is something about themselves they want to improve on. Usually, not always. And then they're coming to get the results for that. If there's an aspect of their life on the graph that shows up that they then want to change, we can provide a course to help them do that. Do you see?
Yeah.
So at that point, you don't have to have a faith in Scientology. You really don't have to have a faith at all. You can do a course, help in your relationships, your mood swings, whatever it is. We have lots of different courses. And then you can actually use that, take it home, and that's it, that's what you do. You can do more courses if you want, and you can find out more about the spiritual side of life if you want to after that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah?
This may be slightly personal. When you were talking about starting your business, you several times said we, and you corrected yourself to I.
Well, I started it off, and now my husband's with me in the business. So in fact, I changed it because I was the one who started it. He was actually working in Southampton at the time. Now it's we. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah.
You said, did you say it was an Oxford personality test?
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, what's the link there to Oxford?
It is just a test that was actually done in that area, I believe. It's not Oxford University.
Right, okay.
Sorry, again, if this is too personal question,
I don't
but you mentioned your son. Do you raise your son as a Scientologist?
I do. And he's done some children's communication course too. He's quite an old head on young shoulders. He's very with it. I deal with him, as a Scientologist, I would say probably the biggest thing, or biggest advantage I've got to whatever, as a mother, is I treat him a little bit like I would treat you. I don't have the viewpoint he's smaller than I am. Does that make sense? I grant him an awful lot of beingness. If he wants to do something, and I'm not sure if that's the right thing for him to do, I'll go over it with him and I'll say, okay, so what's this you want to do? Can you see the dangers in this, etc. I don't make him wrong very often. And if he says that's real to him, then that is real to him and that's what I accept. Yeah? Yeah.
On an immediate follow-up to that, would you feel the same way if he said he wanted to go to Catholic Mass or Christian Sunday service?
Absolutely. In fact, he goes to a Christian school. It's Christian based, the school he goes to, and he comes home and talks about Jesus. I went to a Methodist church for quite some time when I was at home. I also went to Christian school singing hymns, etc. at school. Absolutely. One thing we don't have as Scientologists, we don't have any argument at all with any other religion. That was the other thing I liked about the subject, was you can have your faith, you can be a Christian, atheist, agnostic, Catholic, and you could still do Scientology courses. And in actual fact, at the moment, we've got 2 Christian girls on courses with us in Poole, which is where we're actually based, who do courses with us. And they're benefiting from that because we don't cut across a faith. You can learn about your relationships and your ups and downs, your mood swings, without cutting across your faith. Yeah?
First of all, if it doesn't cut across a faith, on what grounds would you say that it would be a religion, or is that something that we're going to
We can cover that later, but
okay.
that's fine. It's a religion. We believe in you as a spirit and me as a spirit, and that's a creator. Whatever your belief is in the creator is your belief, and that's entirely for you to have. And as more you do Scientology, the more your own faith could actually strengthen. Yeah?
Just from the atheist point of view, you talk about the creator. I've seen on various Scientology websites it does talk about God. So, as an atheist,